please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Alderman Brocart. Alderman Blank. Here. Alderman Ode.
Here.
Alderman Bell.
Here.
Alderman Wilkes.
Here.
And Alderman Lewis.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve of January 16th, 2024 meeting minutes, please?
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're on special items, we have none. Appointments to boards and commissions, we have none. Scheduled public comments, we have Kip Beatty with YMCA annual report.
Good evening, everybody. You state my name and address?
Yes, sir.
All right, I learned it now. It was new last year, so. 15904 South Palace Nichols Road, Hartsburg, Missouri, 65039. All right, well, thank you guys for having me again tonight. I'm here to give our annual report like I did last year. You guys should have received this, I believe, in your board packets or last week or so. Another great year for the YMCA. Again, we hired a new full-time employee this year. We're now up to 8 full-time employees. Jake Katnick is our new health and wellness director. If you have not met him yet, I highly encourage you to come by and meet him. He's been doing great things for us so far. We're now up to 50 part-time employees as well. Memberships continue to increase. We had a 12% increase from last year up to 1,833 units, which equates to 4,202 individuals currently belonging to the Southern Boone Area YMCA. As you know, we have a contract with you guys to fulfill services. So again, you guys probably read through that. I'll touch on some of the highlights. This summer, we are looking to add a 3rd summer camp site here in Ashland, which will make 4. We have one in Columbia as well as Camp Mud. We are having our 2nd annual Healthy Kids Day event in April, which is a free event to everybody in the community for kiddos. We created a new program last year, slow pitch softball, over at the city park. It was a great program, had about 8 teams this past summer with about 100 players total. I will say our team was in that championship game and we got beat. Not happy about it. Still a little bitter, but it is what it is. So, but again, great program. No issues. Mitch did a great job running that program at City Park. We had our 2nd annual Giving Tree event this past December, which we partnered with the school district on that, and we supported over 20 families in the community and gave away 100 gifts to kiddos in the community that cannot afford presents. Again, that's something we do with the Y. It's not purchasing those gifts, but it's more our members come in, pull tags off the tree, and then support those families in our community. Very cool event that we do. Another item of note is our collaboration with the school district and the city of Ashland, our TAP grant. Hope to see that come to fruition here soon. Hope to start construction on that in the springtime. It's been a couple-year process, but I know our members are excited to see the walking trail. Another thing we're doing right now, our directors, we volunteer at the school district and read to kiddos that need assistance with reading. All 5 of our directors are doing that. It's great to be able to get back to our kids and help out with Brandy and Lucas over there. And a very cool program. If you have time, they're looking for volunteers still, but it's definitely very rewarding. Another program we created this year was a golf league down at Illinois. We've done golf camp in the past, but this past year we actually created a league now. We had 18 kids in our golf league. It was overall a great program. We learned a few things that will be better this year, but overall another great program that we created. Tennis lessons and league was another program this past year that was very successful. We had 35 kids in our tennis program. We applied for a tennis grant that also helped fund rackets and balls for the kids as well. Another program we created this past year was our cheerleading program. We had 60 girls in the program. The kids are cheering in our football games. Again, we run tackle. We run flag from pre-K through 2nd grade and tackle from 3rd grade through 6th grade. So now getting their sisters and the young ladies involved. We had no male cheerleaders this past year, but we might have a couple this year that showed interest. But a really cool program where the kids are cheering on the sidelines and also going to the away towns as well to cheer. So very, very cool program that we started there. What I'm most proud of, I think, is what Mitch has done with our little programs. We call them our littles. It's for ages 3 to 6 year olds, but we now have 5 programs with 2 more on the way. We have little ballers, spikers, sprinters, kickers, dancers, and we're about to create little athletes and little hitters. But again, this is for ages 3 to 6 that we're learning the basic skills of sports, but really we're learning skills, just socialize and be around other kids and how to communicate. But couldn't be more proud of what Mitch has done, and they are very, very cool programs. They seem to fill up every time we offer those programs, but he's doing a great job. So help him on the side. We got to create another silver sneakers class. This past month, we have about 25 silver sneaker participants in our class. Again, it's typically for more of our active Asian adults, but we get some younger people in there as well. But again, a great class. We had over 400 participants, 400 clients in our personal training this past year as well. I know Ms. Bell does training with Jessica, and Jessica does a great job, and our trainers are doing a fantastic job of keeping our community healthy. That's it in a nutshell, but I would like to, I don't know if I can ask you guys a question, but what do you guys want to see from the Y in the future? Is there anything that we're not fulfilling that you guys would like to see, or can we do anything that I don't know, what can we do to help the city out, help the community out?
Well, personally, I know I told you I'd like somebody to come over to my house and make me come out and across the street, but
I know.
I don't know if that would help the city out. It doesn't help me.
Come in and meet Jake. Jake is doing great things. We're doing our Lose a Win Challenge right now. That's something I did not mention on here, but we have 58 participants in our Lose a Win Challenge, and Jake's been doing a great job of keeping our participants engaged. We give out weekly prizes. We've seen tremendous weight loss already out of our participants, but Jake is he's a go-getter, and we're excited to have him on board. So come meet him. You'll like him. So what Derek was in health and wellness role, he's now switched into our operations director role. He's our MacGyver, can fix and do anything. Derek's worn many hats for us at the Y, but he's now kind of our go-to guy with fixing machines, mowing the grass for us, snow removal. But Derek does a lot of the odds and ends jobs for us and does a great job. Of course, we have Farron, Mitch, Nabrina with childcare, Brian's another full-time employee with childcare, and Nathan also running our front desk. But it's pretty cool to see, look, 8 years ago to where we are now, to have 8 full-time employees, 1 employee per year, and 50 part-time employees. And, your money's not going towards that. It's helping us fund programs and create programs, but it's amazing what we've done in 8 years. So, I want to thank you guys and for supporting the Y. So back to my question, though, is there anything you guys want to see from the Y?
How's the farmer's market working out?
It's working. We just had a meeting last week. So met with some vendors. I know there's some guidelines that we're gonna need to follow this year. We have followed, but some new guidelines that we're making sure we need to follow with our vendors, make sure they're getting the proper licenses and certifications that they need. We had 12 vendors last year sign up. Not all of them showed up each week. The more vendors that show up, the better the market is. We had probably consistently 6 or 7 vendors that showed up, but we got some new things in store for this year and excited to see what happens.
And yeah, I just want to say thanks. We participated in some of the newer programs. We did the golf, and I know we did cheerleading this year, and the kids just absolutely loved it. And then, people always give me a lot of grief for waking up super early, but I know when I'm on my way to work, I can see the Y from my house, basically, and that entire parking lot is full of people who are dedicated in there at 5 in the morning, and it makes my day every time I drive by and I see it, so good job.
No, same here, and it's the parking's an issue, which is why we're about to add on to our parking lot. Again, it's a great problem to have. I'm glad that we're trying to figure out ways to create more space in there instead of trying to get people in the door. But it's been busy. Typically you see it slow down about right now, but it hasn't yet, which is a good thing. And again, I compliment our staff on that, of keeping the Y clean, creating new programs. That's what it takes to keep people in the doors. And again, our staff is doing a heck of a job.
And the new app is nice too.
New app is nice too. Yeah. So if you don't have the app, download it, try it out. But the app is nice. Put a lot of work into that as well.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thanks. Moving on to public hearing, we have none. Moving on to introductions and first readings. Council Bill number 2024-01, an ordinance approving Middle Creek subdivision final plat 1.
All right, this is regarding a request for approval of a final plat for the subdivision known as Middle Creek Plat 1. The property owner is Corey Myers Developments LLC. The submitting firm is Engineering Surveys and Services, both of which are here tonight. If you have any questions, the owner and a representative from Engineering Surveys and Services, Christina Lubert of Lubert Engineering, performed the review. Okay, the subject development is overall the subdivision, which preliminary plat was approved, is approximately 44.85 acres in size. It is at the southwest corner of H. Chloe Harmon Road and South Crump Lane. Plat 1 will consist of 2 lots, lots 2 and 4, being approximately 5 acres and 5.6 acres respectively. Zoning classification is R1 single family. The original preliminary plat for Middle Creek, approved in mid-2021, was a mixed residential subdivision consisting of 116 lots. Due to various circumstances, including costs associated with providing sewer service, the most recent preliminary plat approved in June 20 of 2023 reduced the development to just 9 lots. This final plat, known as Plat 1, will consist of 2 lots, lots 2 and 4. Access to these 2 lots will be off of the north end of Billy Joseph Drive. Easements have been designed to allow city utilities to be supplied to these lots. Because a section of the southeast corner of Lot 4 will not be fully serviced by the proposed fire hydrant coverage, there is a note on Plat 1 stating buildings may only be constructed where every portion of the exterior wall is within 600 feet of hose drag distance from a fire hydrant. There will be a hammerhead turnaround installed at the north end of Billy Joseph, and it is staff's understanding that the developer intends to preserve as many of the trees as possible during development. So after careful consideration, staff is supportive of this final plat. It is staff's belief that the developer has met the intended requirements set forth in the city code. Planning and zoning voted to approve this final plat on February 13th with the condition that a bond be posted for the required infrastructure improvements not yet completed. Now, I haven't received the bond yet, but Mr. Myers was working on it, and I told him he has until, next Wednesday, or is it next? Yeah, next Wednesday to get it submitted, to have the second read for the final plat before it's fully approved. So, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question about what kind of risk does this pose to the city, having a portion of a lot that we say can't be built on? What if they decide, whoever builds on it, whoever buys it and decides to build on it, decides to ignore that?
So it's my understanding at least one of the lots is sold, and the other one would sell fairly quickly. And whenever a building permit is applied for, they have to submit a site plan with that. So it would have to show the building and setbacks.
So it was triggered then.
So I would check that with the coverage.
Cause I wouldn't wanna get into a position where something's partially constructed and that's when we discover it and it causes an issue.
Yep.
Can I address that, Derek?
Absolutely.
Corey Berthold, Engineering Surveys and Services, and, that's why, with the nature of these lots, they're larger lots, they're 5-acre lots, it's really not feasible to try to cover, the entirety of the lots with fire protection when, really only a portion of the lots are gonna be used for building sites. And it's anticipated that the portion of that lot 4 the building site would be covered within the fire hydrant coverage area that we proposed. If for some reason, the person who purchased that property wanted to build beyond that coverage area, they would need to extend the fire coverage for that portion. We've tried to be completely transparent with adding that note to the plat so they can clearly see, that restriction on the plat. And then as well with the site plans we've submitted, we've clearly shown, where those coverage areas are for those lots. It's just that because of the nature of those lots being larger, 5-acre tracts, it's really not feasible to try to cover the entire property when it's probably never gonna be developed in that way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We get a motion approving Council Bill number 2024-01, an ordinance approving Middle Creek subdivision final plat 1.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Old?
Aye.
Alderman Plank?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Council Bill number 2024-02, an ordinance granting an easement to Union Electric doing business as Ameren, Missouri.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, before you this evening is a request from Ameren Missouri for a utility easement. This utility easement would allow for Ameren to place another power pole at the Ashland wastewater treatment facility. The purpose is to provide power to the Liberty Square commercial development on the south side of Liberty Lane, which is directly north of the wastewater treatment facility. We currently have 3 poles in that location now. This one would simply be just outside of the existing utility easement. Additional pole should have no bearing on future wastewater treatment facility expansion plans. It has no cost to the city, and it will only help to strengthen the electrical grid within the city of Ashland. Any questions?
Change. Can I get a motion approving Council Bill number 2024-02, an ordinance granting an easement to Union Electric doing business as Ameren, Missouri?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Plank?
Aye.
Alderman Old?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
And Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Old business, ordinance number 1460, an ordinance approving Middle Creek subdivision final plat 1.
This would be a motion to table pending the receipt of the bond next week.
Got it. Can I get a motion to table?
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Plank?
Aye.
Alderman Old?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
And Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alright. Ordinance number 1461, an ordinance granting an easement for Union Electric doing business as Ameren, Missouri. Second reading. Can I get a motion to approve ordinance number 1461?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Old?
Aye.
And Alderman Plank?
Aye.
Moving on to new business, resolution 2024-8, a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Ashland, Missouri, approving an agreement with Yard Waste Services.
As you recall, around April last year, we started up a new curbside collection yard waste program. We were kind of piloting that over the last year as a 1-year contract. Meeting with Salter Lawn Care, they would like to extend that contract, renew it. We've put together a 5-year proposal to lock that in. We believe with these projected increases to cost over the course of this contract, we can keep that customer rate at $150 a month. So staff is recommending approval of the included yard waste agreement. Giving you some brief statistics just based off of some of the call data that Salters was able to provide me with. Obviously, we'd like to see some more utilization of the program, but we're pretty happy with the numbers overall for kind of rolling it out quickly and only having it running for a portion of the year.
Any questions for Kyle on this? Has he took care of all the issues as far as working through the kinks on everything?
Yeah, I mean, we had some, a few customer concerns the first week or two of the program, but other than that, I mean, I don't know that we've taken any calls.
Good.
It's been pretty consistent with those pickups on that Tuesday and Thursday, so it's been pretty quiet and consistent program over the last handful of months.
And you must be a very early riser because every time I've used it, everything's been gone by like 6 in the morning.
Wow. It's good. It's good.
I'm sure they want to get it done so they can get them out on their jobs.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution 2024-8, a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Ashland, Missouri, approving the agreement for yard waste services?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Alderman Blank?
Aye.
Alderwoman O.
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
I think I'm going to abstain. Do you need a reason?
You know, for an ordinance or what?
It's for a resolution, to approve a resolution.
We do endorsements for them
I'm
on the
gonna say-
Eagle. I read their endorsements, so I'm just going to.
Yeah, you can.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
And Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Moving on, resolution 2024-9, a resolution accepting a coordinate security bond for Corey Myers Development LLC for Middle Creek Plat 1. We're gonna table that also.
Yes, please.
All right, can I get a motion to table, please?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Old?
Aye.
And Alderman Plank?
Aye.
Moving on, resolution 2024-10, a resolution authorizing change order number 4, MLLC Incorporated for the Perry Avenue Extension.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the board, before you this evening, we have change order number 4 for the Perry Avenue Road Extension Project. This particular change order is a deduct as it pertains to some unnecessary water line items. In particular, there was an underrun of 2 of the 8-inch inline isolation valves and 1 of the accompanying T-fittings. The combined total of the savings for this deduct is $4,690 even. Those funds would be, those savings would be borne solely by the city of Ashland, as the water line portion of that project was not participated in by any of the other funding streams. This approval of change order number 4 would allow for that savings to be received, and where we can then move forward with final closeout of the project.
Any questions for James? All right, can I get a motion approving resolution 2024-10, a resolution authorizing a change order number 4 for MLLC Perry Avenue Extension Report?
Getting money back, absolutely.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Blank?
Aye.
Alderman Old?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
And Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Moving on. Resolution 2024-11, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Brightly Software Incorporated.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the board, before this evening is a resolution to seeking authorization to purchase the asset management and work order software for the Public Works and Utilities divisions within the city of Ashland. Staff have been conducting demos of various software over the past couple of years, looking at ways that we can improve efficiency and streamline operations. The purpose of asset management software and work order software is to, it will allow us to transition from a preventative response, or excuse me, transition from a reactive response to a preventative response. With a small staff in each of these divisions, it is quite common for tasks to get forgotten about or fall between the cracks. We don't really have a set recording system for tasks that need to be addressed. The work order side of this software would then track for not only those daily routine tasks or work items, repair items that happen regularly, but also for infrequent ones, such as a burst water main, a clogged sewer main, street lamp that goes out, or a street sign that comes up missing, or a pothole when we get one. It's really treated as, it's considered an enterprise software because it would be utilizing, providing a module for each division within Public Works and Utilities. We would have a standalone module for the treatment facility itself, one for the collections of the sewer side, one for our water distribution side, one for streets, one for parks, one for fleet maintenance and one for facilities maintenance. That will allow us to, as we have a small number of staff that routinely jump to do work from different departments and divisions, will allow for better tracking. Ultimately, will allow for better reporting to be able to, and transparency, because then we can show what our actual costs of day-to-day operations and maintenance items is, to include labor and equipment usage. We will also be able to track our depreciable assets, help us to better forecast when assets need to be replaced, what our true cost of ownership is across the board for those assets, and it'll allow us to identify problem areas within our infrastructure systems. Case in point, as we have several work orders generated within one specific section of sewer main for a backup or a potential backup, that graphic is going to show up that we can identify that as a problem spot. While it's easy to forget when one guy works on this and then 2 months later another guy works on it, but when we have that graphic that's overlaid with our GIS system, it allows us to identify those problem spots so that we can take further action, be that replacement or repairs as needed. Holistically, the purpose and the goal of the software is merely to be a force multiplier. Again, with relatively small staff numbers for a municipality of our size, I'm always looking for what I call a force multiplier, something to where I can improve efficiency, I can keep my guys on task, taking care of more problems in the same amount of time. And one of my biggest pet peeves is task items that get forgotten about, or the can gets kicked down the road, or whatever issue of the day comes up and takes precedence. This will allow us to track those, change the priority levels of those various task items, and make sure that they don't fall to the wayside anymore.
Any questions?
So for the part of it that would cover the parks, is that just like work orders within the parks, or would this be part of what they've been talking about with the reservation system?
This won't address the reservations, it'll primarily be work order, and something that James has not yet quite touched on, and he may, but it'll have a citizen-facing component as well. So all the times that we've received emails or we get reports from you guys after the fact of, you know, XYZ in the park needs to be fixed, or pothole here, pothole there, that'll expedite that process and also make sure that we have some tracking for it. So that's where we see a lot of benefit come to the park there, but also having the ability to have those scheduled daily tasks be tracked as well.
Have you worked with this software before?
This is the software that we use for our building permits currently, the software we adopted for,
Okay.
it's the same software package, it'll just add to that.
Interactive.
Yeah.
I was gonna say all that stuff you just said. That was the next thing on that.
Yeah, but you would stretch it on about another 15 minutes.
I can.
All right, can I get a motion approving resolution 2024-11, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Brightly Software Incorporated?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Alderman Blank?
Aye.
Alderman Odom?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
And Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution 2024-12, a resolution reducing the site setback requirements for MLE pursuant to chapter 19 of Ashland Code of Ordinance. We had some review cards.
Yep, I'll introduce it here real quick. Yeah, we've got one back now. So the resolution you have before you relates to a building permit submitted by Emily. This is for the construction of a marijuana manufacturing production facility in the Liberty Square development that we just talked about with the electrical easement that we've granted. As part of the regulations that we adopted around this time last year with regards to the legalization of marijuana for personal consumption, we adopted as part of our update to our criminal code some standards for these facilities, how far they can be set back from certain properties. In this particular instance, the facility that's being proposed has a requirement to be 1,000 legal walkable feet from an existing school, childcare center, or church. The site and location sits anywhere between 825 to 1,200 feet, give or take. There's not really sidewalks out there for us to easily identify a walkable route, so that's the estimate that staff was able to come up with. So with that, we didn't feel comfortable that we could make a true assessment of that walking distance and felt it was necessary to suggest that the applicant come and make a request pursuant to these adopted regulations, which do empower the board to lower that if they see fit. So that's the process that we're looking to implement tonight, or at least review tonight. Staff is not in a position where we can approve this building permit, so now it's up to the board to make a determination so that we can approve this permit or deny it and give the reason for that denial. The applicant is here. I will certainly allow you to turn it over to him.
Please state your name, members of the board. My name is Josh Oxenhandler. I live at 1010 Harvard, Columbia, Missouri, 65203. Co-owner and co-founder of Emily Process. I've got my team with me tonight. Jackie Wells, also co-founder and co-owner, our CFO, her husband Darren. Lauren Kaufman is our director of culinary, also a Boone County resident. Paul Shank is our COO. Tammy Barrett in the back is our office manager, and then landowner and developer, Mark Powers is here with me tonight. We're a state licensed manufacturer of cannabis infused products. What that means is that we're business to business. We don't have a storefront. We won't have any major signage. We'll have a 10-foot fence around the entire perimeter with razor wire. We are a manufacturing facility. We're going to start hopefully soon with about 18 to 20 employees, and as we grow, we hope to be able to employ people from the surrounding area and get that number up close to 50 within a year or so. The building is very secure, and as you can see from the sightline, this is our building going in, and we've had the architects overlay the other three buildings when they're built. And here is Ashland Child Care Center. I would note that when we submitted this, we submitted a letter from the owners of Ashland Child Care saying that they had no objection to this, and that they were fine with it. The reason we put the other three buildings is to show you the sightline issue here, that it won't even be visible from there. And so the operative word in all of this that the city administrator touched on is legally walkable. The problem with our land over here is that we don't have sidewalks that are contiguous, that extend basically from Henry Clay to the easement for Highway 63. There's no contiguous path to go this way, cross at either the four-way stop or go down to Henry Clay. As you come back, that sidewalk ends at Middleton. If you went this way, there is a stop sign here, but it didn't seem like the greatest path for us because it's where the highway's coming off there. And so we didn't consider crossing the street here. However, when the city computed it, they went, basically this route gets you the same number as theirs, which is 873 feet away. So we're seeking 127-foot setback variance there to allow us to finish this building and get into business here in Ashland. We're excited to be here. I'm a lifelong resident of Boone County. Lauren, director of culinary, is also a Columbia kid. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I just have one question. I don't know how you process your product or anything like that. Is there going to be any type of odor coming from your facility?
Well, I'm going to let our operations manager talk a little bit about that. Go ahead, Paul. Yeah. Address that a little bit.
Hello, everybody. So with the odor, we started with the engineering group. We worked with Midwest Engineering, and we have multiple odor controls built into the HVAC within our facility, as well as the design of the structure itself. So walls going floor to ceiling, so there isn't any transference of scents throughout the facility or outside. But we're also not a grow, so we're not going to have that very pungent marijuana smell that you smell around a lot of the grow facilities. In all reality, my experience with these manufacturers is you'll smell what we're manufacturing, so cookies and brownies, that is going to be a predominant smell from it, but there will not be a strong cannabis smell coming from our facility.
So will you be able to smell that from in the outside?
The cookies and brownies? Most likely not, no.
Okay, I understand, I think that's what he's looking at.
Yeah, and, you know, just
Yeah,
the fear that there could be some type of a
Fumes.
odor going into that daycare facility if the wind happened to be blowing in that direction.
No, and that just comes down to the facility design with the engineers and the architects, with how we've done it. Charcoal filters in our HVAC, anything that would go outside. But there is no strong cannabis smell or any strong smells that would be coming outside of our building.
Yeah, that was.
I haven't done the research, I thought some of the school and daycare setbacks were were in the law, not just ordinance.
So Amendment 3 does have this kind of odd thing, and I've had discussions with their team about walkable distance. In Missouri law, you often will see as the bird flies, you know, you cannot, the most popular, most, I guess, notorious one is sexual offenders cannot live within a certain distance of certain things. But it's plain that the Amendment 3 uses the word walkable, and that legally walkable, and that allows you to chew up distance less than as the bird flies. So the intent was plainly to allow a business to be closer to a prohibited business than, you know, your first common sense blush would do. But you are allowed to grant an exception. The ordinance specifically authorizes that, and that's what these folks are looking for.
I mean, if they're not selling it, so why would it have to have so much of variance as far as that far, 1,000 feet?
Well, again, I think as the gentleman has said, there is an argument that they don't need it.
Okay.
That depending on how you draw the line, and again, this legal walking distance is not defined, and these folks find themselves, and I sympathize with them. Given one view, they're, 1,100 feet, but on a different view, it's just shy. And so I think that the city ordinance very prudently authorizes an exception for just such a circumstance. There is a certain question about where precisely you draw the lines. Our firm, which as you all know represents dozens and dozens of cities, some cities have taken an approach that it matters which side of the building the door is on, that sort of thing. But I confer and appreciate their candor. They don't have sidewalks. There is a reasonable people could disagree about this calculation. And so the obvious thing to do, in light of our ordinance specifically authorizing the exception, is to seek one and have you all either grant or deny it.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
So the 800 and some feet, is that as the crow flies? Or is that?
It's not required to be as the crow flies, it's
Yeah.
legally walkable streets. And what you see in places like Columbia a lot is there's a daycare relatively close because you have to walk 800 feet down to a stoplight, cross the street and come 800 feet back. So it's as you walk it. So if we calculate it, the legally walkable way that the city is calculating it to get to their 873 feet is to basically walk up our driveway. I think we have it going this way, but they had it going up the driveway, walk down the street down here, of which there isn't sidewalk beyond this entrance right here, cross and walk straight up to the property, crossing the street in the middle there. If you tried to get to a stop sign somewhere else where traffic would slow down, you'd have to come out here to the easement, which puts us at somewhere around 1,100, 1,200 feet, or come out to Henry Clay or somewhere out that way, and you'd be at several thousand feet.
So you're going at perpendicular angles, correct? The 800 and some feet? We're not doing this as crow flies, as you mentioned, but we're kind of going at.
So in our example here, you walk out to the driveway.
Yeah.
You walk up to the driveway. That one goes that way. So you come up our second driveway here, cross immediately across Liberty Lane, and head east, and then you're just kind of hit the corner of their lot and go to the door.
Okay.
And go ahead, sorry.
Basically, right angles. You're making. You're taking right angles to get there. You're not,
Yeah. Well, and also, note that these buildings will be in the future, so there'll be a driveway essentially here and a driveway essentially there. So it just puts you as efficiently as you can using, legally walkable spaces.
So it can be bear with me here. MML asked me to explain this for an article that got published in their review. My office is immediately across the street from the Cole County Courthouse. If I walked out the front door and Jay walked across the street, the front door of the courthouse is like 50 feet away. That's not legal to jaywalk across the street. So the legal walking distance from my office to the courthouse requires me to walk to the end of the block, go across the intersection, walk back down, and go in. that legal distance chews up 3 times the distance of, as the crow flies, or a legal one. So, and again, this is my opinion, but it's the ML opinion. Legal walking distance means you can't trespass, you can't jaywalk, you can't cut corners, which has the practical effect of allowing you to have this kind of facility closer than you might otherwise.
And the authority of local governments to vary from this rule is not only contained in the ordinance, it's also contained in the constitutional amendment.
How many employees did you say you were gonna start out with?
We think about 18,
17.
17. And then as we grow, we grow. Hopefully we get out into the market. We're able to sell to the dispensaries that are the storefronts essentially all across the state. And so as we grow, we hope to continue adding employees. I did note there's a job fair coming up in, looks like May here in town, so hopefully we'll be utilizing that. And I would like to say as an aside, I speak for the whole group, this isn't the way we wanted to get introduced to you guys, so we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us about this.
So what does that entail? Does that entail like trucking? I mean, I'm just looking like, how do you get in and out of that
Okay.
facility if you're doing business?
So there's another lane right here that will allow a truck, we'll have a loading dock back here. And we have, as part of our security system, there's a sally port between what our warehouse is and the outside. So only one of those, kind of like a jail, there's only one open at a time. And we will have, armed security at all times. But this road down here is designed for that path.
Does anyone talk, is that a house right there?
There's a house over here.
It's a little subdivision over there.
So the loading dock that would be on the west side of that building would back up to the creek that splits there right at the bottom of Liberty. So, there are houses that come off of an old development. I don't even know what that is, Whale Meadows maybe?
Ash Point. Yeah.
Ash Point. That'd be your closest house.
My legend is also obscuring the fact that there's a large wooden barn right here. There's basically a wood area through there.
Have you looked at other potential properties or locations, specifically in Ashland? Or
Well, we received our license later in this process than most did because we were awarded ours through an appeal. We applied in 2019, didn't get it appealed, and then were awarded it in March of last year. The practical effect of that is that the gold rush of compliant land in Boone County was dramatically reduced because there were other cannabis facilities that were being used. We met Mr. Powers pretty early on in the process and we're pretty enamored with this site. And I've always been a fan of Ashland, and so it felt like the right thing to do. So as in terms of Ashland, I don't recall specifically we looked at any. We've certainly looked a lot of places. It's just hard to find zoning compliant stuff, and this was a development that Larkin was getting started, and it seemed like the right energy for us, and we proceeded with that idea.
another question? Your product, is the product, would you say it's primarily for recreation or medical use?
Well, that distinction has largely gone away in Missouri now. The dispensaries are open to recreational or, but philosophically, what we've tried to do is create products that you are very clear in understanding what the dose you're taking is. They talk about a concept called microdosing, which is a low dose, maybe with somebody with anxiety or help to get to sleep at night. People with different ailments use it. For example, we intend to produce a chocolate bar. That chocolate bar in its entirety will be 100 milligrams of cannabis, which is, for any of us, would be a lot of cannabis. But each little individual square is 5, which is at the very kind of higher end of microdosing, so that you understand how much you're taking and you can learn about yourself and how it relates to the product. We have another brand called Just Right, and we're still working on formulation a little bit, but they'll be about 3 or 4 milligrams. So it'll be low dose stuff, and so I can't say whether people are gonna use it for recreation or whether they're gonna use it for medical. There's a big spread. You know, I took my parents on their first visit to a dispensary, and my mom suffers from migraines. The woman who was the bud tender happened to suffer from migraines, found a product that helped my mom, and she's felt the benefits from that.
It's like being a distributor. Basically.
1 beer, 6 beers, you know.
You have one for weight loss?
That's a hot topic tonight, isn't it?
Not if it's in a chocolate bar.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I can say is we're trying to develop a sugar-free line, so that may be the best bet.
Found some t-shirt, right? All right.
And because you're only marketing to your other business, basically wholesale, there's no sales tax involved, benefit to the city monetarily.
I mean, typically, there would be no sales tax because we're a business to business, so wholesaling to
Yeah.
dispensaries, yeah.
But you would have employees
Absolutely.
that would eventually eat here, eventually buy gas here. If they like it here, they might move here.
And we intend to recruit from the community as well and be active community partners. You know, one of the things that I've done to promote the business that I did for 20 years before this is get actively involved in different not-for-profits around the community to try and be a part of the community. And it's funny, as I was listening to the presentation from the YMCA, I'm on the board of the CCUA, which is the Farmers Market in Columbia, and so I probably could find some good resources to help come that along. And we're looking forward to being here. We've joined the chamber. We just went through the schedule of chamber events, and so we're hopeful that we're employing people from around the community, and that, I mean, if we can get to 30 or 40 people, we're not feeding them lunch. They're gonna go somewhere. They're gonna wanna live around here, and they're gonna wanna be a part of this community as well.
There you go. Okay. All right. I get a motion approving resolution 2024-12, a resolution reducing the site setback requirements for Emily pursuant to chapter 19 of Ashland Code of Ordinance. Can I get a motion, please?
Make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Lewis.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Nay.
Alderman Bell.
Aye.
Alderman Owen.
Aye.
Alderman Plank.
Nay.
So it does pass.
That passes, it's a resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution? Passes. Can we ask to clarify the reasons?
I mean, you're more than entitled to ask them why they voted how they voted, but that does pass.
Thank you. Alderman Plank.
Sure. I just feel like that, from a family values perspective, I just feel like the business model is not conducive to raising families or raising children. There are studies that show that children are increasingly adversely affected through the legalization of marijuana, and I just don't feel like it's a good business model at all. So that's my vote. Yeah.
Mr. Woodland?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can I ask one thing? The resolution as it's drafted just says Emily, and our legal name is Emily Process. I don't know if that's gonna make a diff, but if we're gonna.
Can I ask a question about process? So now that we've done this, then you still have to go back to the state and get them to approve the change or whatever, or that was already been approved?
So the way that this came about was we, as part of the settlement documents with the state, it said you're entitled to move. So part of it was because we were wanting to get into Boone County. And so then the state said just recently, oh no, you need to apply for the change and of course pay the $5,000 change fee. So
Right.
in the process of that application, which we thought, well, you said in the document that we were entitled to move. So that's the process that we're going through. So that prompted us going back to the city so that we can get some certifications from you folk, and then we'll be able to move forward with that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to reports. Just a few things. Have we received a business license for an event center or event planner?
An event planner presumably would be a home base, so it's required to have one, but no.
I guess somebody's gonna open the business here, so that.
We did today.
We did today? All right, thank you. And then, speeding on North Henry Clay, I'll talk to the chief about that, and then last but not least, trash. We talked about it last week, but I had a couple more people complain about the commercial part of it. When is our trash
This year will be the last year of the contract, so we'll have to RFP later this fall. And that contract runs with the fiscal, so next April will be the end of it, under the current contract.
I'll let them know that. And then if you're not doing anything this Saturday, FFA is putting on a breakfast at the Options Club. That is my report. City Administrator report.
A couple things. I know you guys get the chamber emails, but March 21st, 4 to 6 is gonna be the next Ready on the Road. That'll be a Southern Boone event. They don't have a location yet, but just add that to your calendar for now. Obviously, I'll update you when they decide on where they're gonna have that. I saw the bulk citywide cleanup information came out in email this morning, so that'll be May 2nd. We'll be pushing that information out to the public. I know it was already mentioned once this evening, but the Chamber Business Showcase, May 9th and 10th. It'll be a evening open house kickoff on the 9th and then all day on the 10th. It's a Thursday, Friday, so the city will have a booth down there that we'll try and have some folks staff throughout the day to just have our citizen handbook, our most recent newsletters, that type of stuff, and then have various department heads and staff down there throughout the day to just talk about their specific departments. Southern Boone Economic Development Council, we're gonna have a workshop on Friday morning to discuss the leadership breakfast, to get that kicked off and planned for April. There's a desire for that to continue, so Economic Development Council is gonna be working on that. Other than that, March 25th, I know I've already sent this out to those that it impacts, but that'll be the tentative candidate forum date. That's a Monday evening, so we'll do that right here like we've done in the past couple of years. Aside from that, Rick and I attended the legislative workshop for Missouri Municipal League earlier today. I've got some information that I'll just email out that kind of gives some talking points from the league, as well as some of the other state reps that were there to talk about some pressing issues. There's quite a few various property tax exemption bills, whether it be sales tax or personal property tax or property assessments, a lot of things that kind of preempt our revenue streams, really. I mean, we just got done talking about quite a few sales tax and property tax funded things this evening, so during our budget workshop. So there's quite a few proposals that have gone out that will drastically decrease some of our revenue streams if they go into effect. So I'll send out some of these talking points tomorrow so you can kind of read through them, make some calls if you see so fit.
Thank you. City Attorney's report.
No report tonight. Thanks, sir.
Public Works monthly report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just hit on a few highlights that we haven't discussed already this evening. Perry Ave Extension Project, all the work is complete. We expect the closeout documents in the coming weeks. And we'll wrap that up, save for the removal of the silt fence, which has to wait until we have 80% vegetation to be complete. Also, regarding some parks issues, the Christmas tree recycling program is complete. I've not received any numbers from NDC on how many were received. Staff is currently working to install a new drinking fountain along the trail at the ball field near the new restroom. And we anticipate installing additional drinking fountains over the next couple of years. We also recently installed 3 decommissioned fire hydrants in the dog park area as design features.
Nothing else?
Someone will.
Community Development monthly report, please.
Well, I noticed my report was page 173 of the packet, so if you didn't see it, it was in there. I'll just ask if you have any questions.
All right, moving on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Board of Aldermen report. Alderman Lewis.
Nothing other than, Kyle did mention that we attended the legislative workshop today. When he was talking about sales tax, I don't think there was anything that they brought up that MML was supporting. I think it was all like, would have negative consequences. I don't think there's anything.
I mean, they've registered for support on a revision to the home-based business regulations. I know that was kind of controversial
Oh,
2 years ago when that came across. There is we knew it was coming, but there is a revision to that.
Clean it up.
There's an open records, minor things, a few that they do support, but obviously the primary goal and what we really want out of MML is to register against the ones that really have a diverse impact on us, so.
Right, one of them was like, to eliminate the sales tax on food, yeah, and, you know, well, as an individual, that kind of sounds good, as a, city person, you know, that could be pretty disastrous to eliminate all of that sales tax. And they did point out that, you know, anyone that's really struggling with food is probably already on a SNAP program or something like that, and is not truly affected by the sales tax. They're not going hungry simply because of that sales tax. So, other than that,
The food one really quickly is easily the scariest one. Removing the sales tax on bullets is a relatively small thing. But it actually prohibits sales tax for groceries, which is a gigantic portion of sales tax in any small town, including ours. But again, super popular, right? And that's why it's considered to be kind of quite alarming.
That's been proposed like the last several years.
Okay.
Yeah, when I first moved here, I saw that, I'm like, yeah, they're crazy. Alderman Wilson.
Oh,
Thanks, sir. Alderman Bell?
No official report. I will say we're hosting that Boots and Bows dance at the primary school this weekend for the community and along with the PTA, and I think there are more than 300 people coming, so it's gonna be a big one. Biggest one yet.
Alderman Noel?
No report.
Alderman Plank?
Yep, the Ashland Betterment Coalition. Looks like we've got trivia night scheduled for March the 20th. Activities will start at 5:30, and the trivia portion of the night will be at 6, and it's gonna be at Woody's again. So, that's all I got.
Are they taking teams like they did last year?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, I think it's kind of the same format.
And say that date one more time, sorry.
Oh, March 20th.
Is that spring break?
I think it is.
I'm not sure if it is or not.
I believe that is spring break.
It is spring break.
You might tell them that. I assume most people will be out of town.
Yeah, that might be that. Yeah, brother, thanks.
That is, sir?
Yeah, that's it.
Moving on to general comments by the public. I see none. All right, motion to adjourn.
so moved.
All in favor?
Either one.
Yeah. All in favor? All right, let's go on.